I have to say, this is one of those stories which initially you go, oh, how could this happen? How can these people just come from another country, move here and immediately be given a council house? When you read into it a bit more, this man is a student nurse.
Yeah.
He's a mental health nurse and he's come here to work for the NHS. And it doesn't say whether he was invited to come, whether he was offered accommodation. So, you know, immediately my reaction was to be a bit outraged and say, you know, there are so many families still living in bed and breakfast accommodation.
Yeah, exactly.
This is in the Luton Town Council. They say they've got 10,000 people on their housing waiting list. So initially I did think, well, that can't be right. Surely those people on the waiting list should have the house. So we don't know absolutely 100% of the circumstances.
But there's 5 girls and 3 boys, isn't there? And the parents. And if 5 bedrooms isn't big enough, how many bedrooms do they want?
Exactly. So I go, well, surely the girls share with the girls and the boys share with the boys,
2
and
girls
mum and
in one,
dad.
3 girls in another, 2 boys in one, the mum and dad in one.
I think us 3 all grew up sharing bedrooms, and that is the norm. But I think there's another interesting side to this story, and that's the fact that we are astonished that they've got that many children. Because in British society now, the birth rate seems to be, if not going down, it's stuck at just under 2 children. If you go back a couple of generations, you know, 3 kids was the norm, whereas now 2/3 of the people in Britain say they can't afford a second child.
Yes, which what I think that makes it very difficult when they then read a story. You know, if you've chosen to say, look, I want my children all to have their own bedroom and have, you know, private education, I want them to have a holiday year, then that's a lifestyle choice, and you say you keep your family small. But I know people definitely who would love to have more children, but they have to go, the mother often has to go to work to pay the mortgage or pay the rent. You know, they say, we can't have another child, we're waiting until we can afford it. Then they pick up the paper and see a story like that, where they've got another baby who's only 8 weeks old, I believe. And you go, well, you keep having children that you
but maybe
can't
that's
support
a very
on your own.
Yeah, but that might be a very, very happy family. There's another way of looking at it, because there's also research that shows that the happiest people are the people with families, you know, when they do that happiness measuring thing. The happiest families are 3 children or 4 children.
There you go. So, I've got 3.
Yeah, and you've got 3.
But then you can't, it doesn't matter, I don't think it matters where you're from. I think if you're going to have 8 children and you need housing, you know, at the end of the day, there's a compromise for everybody in life. We all make sacrifices, we all make compromises. And I think, you know, it doesn't matter really where you're from. I think that at the end of the day, you know, you're being given help, and we should all embrace that help and take what we can. And I don't blame them at all. I think at the end of the day, the system allows it. And if it was me and I could have a bigger place and it was for my family, being selfish, I probably would go,
I just think it's quite hard for people to say, when they say, this isn't big enough with 5 bedrooms.
Of
you know,
course.
you look at that family, he's a baker, I think, and they've got 10 children, and they don't claim any benefits at all, and they've got one house. I'm sure they don't all have their own bedrooms. So I think that's where it's difficult.
We've got loads of comments here. Rachel says there's a huge difference between want and need.
Yes.
And people forget that. And Julia says they should be happy with a 5-bedroom house. There are thousands of families living in poor conditions that would be more than happy with a dry and secure roof over their heads.
Yeah.